Number 7, fires on short final. Part of the check ride scenario is a fire that prompts an evacuation. The issue here is evacuation checklists call for the complete depowering of the airplane prior to commanding the evac. Look, when you depower the FMSs, all pilot inputted data is lost. Remember, in sim training, you're pausing, repositioning, and jumping around to maximize your sim time. The last thing the instructor wants is to dump all of the FMS data because now they must wait for it to be loaded again before proceeding with another training scenario. With that in mind, it is very common to have all evacuation scenarios for the last event on a check ride or an instructional session. Look, evacuations, generally we're saving them for the end of the instructional session, for the end of the training event, for the end of the check ride, because we want to depower everything at the very last moment when losing all data is no longer an issue. Because look, we're not trying to conserve time anymore. We're at the end of our training event, right? We're at the end of the check ride. And they're probably going to give it to you on short final, possibly below 1,000 feet. Now, doing this prevents, as mentioned, unwanted dumping of data, but it still ensures the evacuation is completed. A common place for this, short final, last approach. You're on this check ride. Don't be surprised. You're coming below 1,000 feet. You're approaching 500 feet when all of a sudden fire bell goes off. Does it sound like it? Something like that? All right, solution. At captain's discretion and depending on altitude, carry out appropriate procedure, whether it be memory items, EKM action, etc. If on short final, just a few seconds away from touchdown, look, continue the approach and land. Stop immediately, complete the appropriate procedure, assess, and potentially evacuate. One of the things you don't want to do when you're just seconds away from touching down is try to do an EKM action, a memory item, and next thing you know, you're in the flare, right? They would prefer to see you continue the approach, advise ATC, land the aircraft, stop it, and then assess, analyze, take action. Number 8, go around on a circling approach. It's not uncommon to complete a circling approach, and right as you're nearing the flare, you hear, Trainer 1, go around! Part of the reason for this is the instructor and or examiner is looking to see that your missed approach includes a turn in the direction of the protected area, which would be over the airport. Remember that when you're conducting a circling approach, you must brief 2 missed approach procedures. The first one is the missed approach off the initial runway, where the instrument approach procedure is being conducted to. And the second is one from the landing runway, the one that's being circled to. Now look, the second missed approach briefing is one of the most important because it's not written anywhere. See, unlike the first missed approach where you have the text on your approach plate, the second one is not written. It doesn't say anywhere on the approach plate, in the event of a missed approach from the runway that you're circling to, or if at any point in the approach you lose visual contact with the landing runway, this is the missed approach procedure. It's not there. It's not in text. And therefore, when you're briefing a missed from a circling, your instructor and or examiner will be very tuned in to your briefing to ensure that you actually brief properly that missed approach, which should include a turn in the direction of the protected area over the airport. And in addition to that, they'll be even more in tune later when you do the missed approach to see if you actually execute what you briefed. Be mindful of that. Be sure that your second missed approach briefing, the later one that you described, the second one, and the actual execution includes a turn in the protected area. Can't overemphasize this. I know I'm saying it twice, repeating myself. I have seen briefings happen, and then we don't actually do what's briefed. Very common as well in an RTO. Look, on a rejected takeoff, this is my procedure. Prior to B1, this is what's going to happen. After B1, this is what we brief all kinds of great stuff, and then it comes time to go to work. We actually don't actually carry out what we just briefed. Be sure that your briefing is concise and your execution of the briefing, should you have to put it to action, make sure you follow exactly what you briefed.